Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Sober Mind. We're not doing the episode counts anymore because I keep losing track, and that's not how I'm labeling them anyway. Have to calm down a little bit. We have exciting stuff to talk about today. Thank you for everybody that's been supporting this project and this ongoing endeavor that we've got going.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone.
Special announcement, Judy is going to be the permanent co-host of this. We realized when we started, and it's been an evolution of everything that's been going on, that I started it to basically talk about my experiences with mental health, addiction, alcoholism, and that format was okay, but we found that me just sitting here talking and being sad is not the format. So
Plus, it's good to have somebody to banter with.
Way easier to talk to somebody. Otherwise, you're just kind of stuck in your own head, freestyling and figuring out what to do with your thoughts. Okay, so there's that. Judy's gonna be the permanent co-host.
Nice. Nice. I would get up and curtsy, but that would ruin it.
Okay, calm down, everyone. All right, and this is super, super exciting. I got way jazzed about this yesterday when I figured out the direction of this stream. This is the inaugural episode of the Sober Mind podcast.
Yay.
So, oh my God, I didn't even start the recording. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Sober Mind. Okay, as I was saying,
We're starting now.
yes. So we've got a separate audio track going, and when we're finished with this stream, we're going to do a little bit of audio cleanup, a little bit of editing, then we're going to upload it, and it's officially going to go out to all of the big ones: Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. That way you can throw it on your phone and drive to work and listen to the discussions, or drive anywhere, or do whatever you're doing.
Do the dishes,
around.
do the laundry,
Yeah.
do whatever.
Okay, we're also able to take phone calls. Just like on a radio show, it gets piped in through this new audio interface. And I tested it out yesterday. I called in impersonating a serial killer. It was a pretty fun experience. But anyway, is there anyone?
It was creepy,
Yeah.
babe. It wasn't fun. It was creepy.
I know. But if someone's brave enough to help us test it, we could do it live on the air right now. Emily, call in to my number, and you'll be on. Okay. Here we go. Today's discussion is going to be... Man, I start to get choked up every time this thought pops into my head. It's a lot to share, but here we go. We're jumping in.
You got this.
I know. I specifically want to talk about my decade-long child abuse adventure, if you will, and how that affected and continues to affect my development, my emotional well-being, my emotional response to things.
Yeah.
Trauma is tough to sort of iron out with talk therapy at our age, I think. I'm 50 years old. And when I was going through this with my therapist, I don't know how impactful it was. So,
Well, I think at our age, we think that we don't need that anymore because we're in our 50s. Why would we need therapy or to discuss something that happened in our childhood?
right.
So we would think, this is not something to venture into, but you're never too old to delve into something that affects your life so drastically.
You're not, but the bad point I was trying to make is I don't know how talk therapy can help me. It's always there. It's something that looms. I have a lot of thoughts that go on in the clown show, if you will. And
Yes.
and the abuse stuff pops in once in a while. It's not a comfortable thought to have. So, real quick, I'm going to read some factoids from Bick and Nelson 2016 article. Childhood abuse and neglect has been associated with certain regions of the brain failing to form, function, or grow properly. For example, a history of maltreatment may be correlated with reduced volume and overall brain size and may affect the size and/or functioning of the following brain regions: the amygdala, which is key to processing emotions, the hippocampus, which is central to learning and memory, and the orbital frontal cortex, which is responsible for reinforcement-based decision-making and emotion regulation.
Yeah. That's a big one.
So my orbital frontal cortex is broken for sure. It got nuked somewhere along the lines. So
You missed the cerebellum.
yeah, and the cerebellum, which helps coordinate motor behavior and executive function. My motor behavior is good. Executive function, that's a whole other detail. Okay. So I guess, what should I do? Give some history?
Yeah, I think you should give kind of a background of where this all started so that people have an idea of the trauma that you actually went through.
It started in the womb.
Actually, they did. You're right.
1971-ish. On the dot.
Yeah.
I was born in September 72. So my mother was a heavy alcohol and drug user and heavy tobacco smoker while she was pregnant with me. Damaged gene pool right here, for sure. The earliest memory of trauma that I have, I don't know the age. So as we talk about this, I'm going to throw
Before we go there, were you born addicted to any kind of drugs or anything?
I don't know. I don't know. No, my mom never said, "Hey,
Well, it's not something you're going to share with your kid,
you
by
were
the way.
born high as shit." Sorry about that. I don't know. It never came up. The earliest traumatic, anyway, as we start to talk about recall and everything for the history, I'm going to throw ages out there, the numbers, and they're just sort of rough estimates. So let's go ahead and get side. By the way, check out the side camera. I was studying it the other day. If you think you're a super attractive person, just go ahead and give yourself a side shot view for a while, and you'll be traumatized at how you actually turned out. A lot of stuff going on here around the neck regions. Got the rear view. All right, let's get back into the stream here. And Judy is going to be monitoring the chat for any questions that come in. I see Emily hasn't called yet to test out the... she's chicken. Okay. Earliest traumatic experience. I had to be around the age of 4. I know people might think, can you really remember when you're that young? Well, the answer is I can't remember a lot of things that happened at that age. I'm sure most of us can't. One of our friends, I don't know if it was Sarah or someone else, said they remember like super, super young. Emily's feeding the baby. She can't call in.
That's okay, Emily.
But the earliest trauma was this. I woke up I don't know, it had to be, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning when I was super, super young. I know it was in the US, so I had to be like under 4 years old, because a lot of our friends that know me, they know that around that age we moved to Switzerland. And then so there's stories from Switzerland too, but I remember before Switzerland. So it had to be in the US, and I had to be under 4 years old.
Okay.
So the traumatic event that I remember was I woke up, it was super dark. I wanted my mother, and she wasn't there. I was completely alone in the house.
Nobody was there, not even a babysitter?
Nobody was there. I remember just sitting on the living room floor and just craving a parent.
Anybody at that point, I think.
Yeah, so I was really freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I remember I had anxiety then. Like maybe that was the trigger. Maybe that was the night.
When the anxiety started?
Yeah. When I think about my anxiety, we all try to correlate events or how it used to be. And as of late, as I've been feeling really well mentally, I was telling Judy the other day, I came back from my run. Hold on, I got sweat on my lip.
I don't think the podcast is really going to understand that one.
I was telling Judy when I got back from my run that I was feeling really good. You know, as we're going through this continued medication journey, I always like to do check-ins and tell Judy where I'm at and what's going on. I realized that this is the first time in a long time that I'm feeling normal. I'm doing air quotes. Because I don't have persistent anxious thoughts, but I realized I do have a constant baseline level of like buzzing anxiety. I'm one of those people that if it like came up to me like, John, just calm down, relax, it'll be okay. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm relaxed right now, but
there's always that constant hum that you've got going on.
Yeah.
I think ever since I've known you, you've had that constant kind of hum, that underlining vibration that you know, I don't think I have.
Yeah, my therapist.
Or maybe you just vibrate a little bit higher than I do.
I don't know. It's something. It's a clown show in my head. My therapist said that it's a condition called hypervigilance. I'm always looking around like I'm ready to, someone's going to pounce on me. It's like a defense mechanism. It's not that bad anymore, but my relaxed state is always me having some antennas up, making sure that no lion's going to attack me or something. But that's the earliest traumatic experience that I can remember. I'm going to tell you something that I've never told you.
Oh, okay.
My mother told me that at that age that she found me in a closet, given fellatio to one of my stepbrothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of them had pulled me in the closet and I guess had me doing that. I do not recall that. So it could be...
How old were you?
3 or 4. Yeah.
And your stepbrothers were older, obviously?
Yeah. Trevor and Travis Latimer, for the record. If you did that, let me know, and we'll have a long discussion. I don't know where they are. Last I heard, they were both in prison, so that adds up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I don't remember that. My mother told me that's what happened, so that was the last part of that discussion.
Why would your mother tell you that? I mean, I just don't understand why she felt the need to tell you something like... How old were you when she told you that?
Like 12.
Cool.
Hey, hon.
By the way.
Just want to let you know, when you were 3, I found you giving a BJ to your stepbrother. Good times, eh?
So proud of you, son.
Yeah. But that was my mom in a nutshell. We'll get into more of dear old mom.
So how did you think you were going to turn out from all of this?
Okay, you know how we have especially when we're a little bit younger, we've got a sort of a preconceived notion, if you will. We paint a roadmap of here's how I think I'm going to be when I get older. I remember there was a brief moment when I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. I don't know where that was going or who told me that, but it seemed like a good idea when I was in like 6th or 7th grade. But as I got a little bit older, I told you this the other day, I envisioned myself not working, sitting in a chair or a couch, smoking a cigarette with a wife of some sort, probably super unhealthy wife, in a real cluttered, borderline hoarder house.
Trailer.
My memory, I upgraded from a trailer.
Oh, that's good.
Went at least a house. And my daily routine would be that we would just be smoking our cigarettes, drinking, and going to the unemployment office.
Living off the dole.
Yeah. I didn't see myself with a career or a destination, I guess.
Just kind of existing.
Yeah. How about you?
I never really had those visions. You know, when you're in school, they say, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I never really had that far-reaching vision. It was always, well, in a couple months, I'm going to be visiting my dad in California, or, it's this Christmas, this is what I'm going to be doing. But I never had that far-reaching view. At one point, I wanted to be a stewardess and fly around the world. But no, that was about it. I was very much in the moment, kind of,
Yeah.
enjoying myself in the moment and not really worrying about the future will happen when it gets here type of deal.
Yeah. But you didn't have a picture like my therapist says your observer would see something.
I had pictures of what I wanted my life to be like. I want to live in a nice house, and I did have a picture of what my husband, well, not really a picture, but a description of what I wanted my husband to be. And I wanted him to be loving and really love me for me, and to always make me laugh. And you always make me laugh.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So
either on purpose or on accident. Am I as hot as your pictured husband?
I never put a face or a picture on that. I always just assumed that I would just love the person for who they were.
Yes. I'm the hottest vision of your husband.
Well, I think you're handsome, so.
Thanks, babe. All right. So I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but that's a good conversation topic. Nature versus nurture. Mm-hmm. There's been studies done on that. I don't know how exactly this happened, but identical twins were separated at birth. And they lived in completely different scenarios. Mm-hmm. One with neglect and something. I don't think they intentionally abused them, although the U.S. science community could have done that. And the other one was nurtured and brought up super well. And they got back together several decades later, and they both turned out pretty much the same. So that's interesting.
What was the history of your trauma? I mean, what were some of the things that you experienced as a child with your parents?
The psychological and physical abuse was horrific. It really was. My mom would beat the bejesus out of me just for all three of us. My sister Brandy, who died of opioid overdose. Shocker. And my brother Hans, he's still alive. I've been trying to text him for the last couple of weeks. He won't get back to me. I want to have him call in. You guys want to talk about a shit show? Well, me and Hans will talk about some stuff together. That'd be a good one. But the physical abuse, like my room would be dirty, and one of my...
Like any normal kid.
Yeah. One of my flavors of the month father figures that was... My mom probably had like 30 to 40 boyfriends that I can remember. Mm. I can name a bunch of them. They're always there, like, you know, doing meth and drinking.
In front of you.
Oh, yeah. Remember, hold on, I digress. Yeah, I woke up from my paper route on a Sunday in Sacramento, California. I came out in the living room to go grab the bundle of papers and start to fold them. Walk out, and there's my mom getting the action from two guys. And there was a bunch of white powder on the table. I didn't know what it was at the time. I figured it out later, but that's what I woke up to. I didn't like that.
I don't imagine any child would like to see that happening.
Yeah, very uncomfortable visual. I'm like, I'm 12 years old and I'm out here trying to earn my $25 a month. What are you doing? They just kind of went about it too. I had to take my bundle of papers out in the garage, and when I think back on that, I was just like, that's the norm of my mom. Okay, we keep derailing here. It's going to be the worst first podcast anyone listens to. That's okay. We're putting it out there anyway. So the trauma is the physical abuse, the beatings from her, and then there was a couple boyfriends who thought they had the right to discipline me as well. Mm-hmm. Which I did not appreciate. There was one long-term boyfriend, Ed, who was just this large, hulking man. He used to punch me in my shoulders super, super hard. Like, I don't know if I have arthritis from it to this day. He's the one that used to ground me. I was grounded... I can't remember what for. Just probably some normal shit that a child does at 12, 13. The entire summer, I was locked in my room.
In Sacramento.
In Sacramento.
Which, for those of you who don't know, is really, really hot.
Yeah, and we didn't have air conditioning. So I just sat in that room. The only time I could come out was for 2 meals a day and to the bathroom. It's like a prison.
How long were you in there?
3 months. The entire summer.
And your mom did nothing?
Nothing. Then later on, my brother and I deduced that was the time when my sister was getting molested by Ed.
Oh,
probably had a lot to do with me getting locked up. That's right, I did time at 12 years old. But, so the beatings, the verbal stuff, I still remember a lot. The one thing that resonates that I know has a significant impact on emotional development is my mother used to tell me directly in fits of rage that she would scream into my face, "I wish you were never born."
Oh, that's good for your self-esteem.
Yeah. I remember hearing that, and I was really hurt.
Yeah. I think verbal abuse is just as bad, if not more powerful to a child's psyche than the physical, because it stays with you. They always say words don't hurt. Well, they really do. They really, really make an impact, because it's something that affects you, that your parent is telling you, that is, affecting you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Here I am, 50 years old, and I still remember that. I remember how it made me feel. I think that's probably one of the foundational cracks, if you will, that has affected my self-esteem.
Oh, don't doubt that at all.
Yeah. It's that constant diminishing, belittling, undermining, disrespecting affront that just as you're developing, your brain just can't help it.
No.
You know?
Well, yeah, and you're absorbing at a child. You absorb everything.
Yeah.
So to have all that in your most impressionable age is just, it's traumatic.
Yeah. It definitely altered some good development opportunities.
Did you ever talk to your mom about any of this?
No, I want to say no, because if I have to think about it that hard, I did not. I think I might have thrown out some passive aggressive statements in one of her drunken stupors.
Which was a good time to talk to her.
Yeah. She was super coherent. No, and that's a really good question, because when she died, you were there with me in 2008.
Yes.
I was at work and I got a call from the coroner. I still don't know how in the heck they found my information, but long story short, I went to Redding, California to go take care of the details, and it was insane. She lived in a trailer, speaking of, and there was literally an engine block in the living room, leaking oil. You know, stuff you would see on a Matt Groening cartoon.
Or a good episode of Hoarders.
Yeah. Like typical hillbilly, single wide and a half. And the floor was just covered in dog shit. The entire inside. And there was a mound of dog food like this big. And there was a can of like, I don't know, it had a big Siberian Husky on it. It was like big old chunks. And guess what? The only dog that was there was this tiny Chihuahua. So
a miniature Chihuahua, not a standard Chihuahua, which is small enough, but this is a miniature Chihuahua.
Yeah. I think Michelle met Leo, who I brought home. I felt so bad for that dog. Anyway, in the later stages of my mom's drug abuse, she just checked out, and that's how she fed the dog, was a big old gigantic, it had to be like 32-ounce can of Siberian Husky.
Mighty Chow or something like that.
In the bowl, and just like, there you go, dog, eat on that for a week or two.
Ugh.
So the house was just disgusting. Me and my brother were walking around, just dumbfounded. And we went into the bedroom, and there was just... Oh, there was a note from the coroner and the sheriff's department saying, hey, if you're looking for any of the medication, we had to confiscate it all. There were just way too many. So how my mom died was, she still undetermined, cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest, something.
She died like Elvis.
Babe.
Sorry.
Too soon. She did. She was super constipated, which opiates make you, and I guess she squeezed too hard and blew out something on the toilet. That's where they found her like 5 days later. She bloated and then exploded.
Ugh.
In the Redding heat. It smelled awful in there. But anyway, the coroner said that. So when I went and talked to the coroner, she's like, yeah, did you know how many medications your mother was taking? I'm like, I did not know, but I am 0% shocked at the number you're about to tell me. She's like, we found 32 different variations of opioids. I'm like, I'm not shocked at that, but I didn't know there was so many variations. But yeah, that was a weird time, because the coroner, she's like, hey, so how do you want to proceed with the funeral arrangements? I was like, funeral? I do not plan on having a funeral. She's like, well, we have to do something with the remains. I said, it's going to sound super callous, but I haven't spoke to my mother in over 15 years. What do you do with homeless people? And she looked at me all crazy, like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? Where's your empathy? I'm like, She goes, yeah, the basic service we can provide, I don't know, she's like $800, I think she threw out there. I'm like, no can do. She was just sitting there looking at me like you are, like, are you, this is your mother. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I gotta go.
When did you finally reach your last final, that's it, I'm not dealing with this person anymore, I'm done, I've tried to have a relationship with her, and she's pushed me past my limit?
That is a great question. I was in Kuwait. My company commander called me into his office and very uncomfortably said, hey, is your mother Vicky Latimer? And I said, yes, sir. I wasn't worried. I was concerned. Something. Who knows? I was like, I don't. What's happening? He goes. So someone had let her know that I was in Kuwait and that I had died. I don't know how she got that information in her head. I have no idea. So she called my company commander, and basically her initial inquiry was, I understand that there's servicemen's group life insurance to collect.
Jeez. Mother of the year there.
Yeah. Ed, SGLI, you remember? So he's like, you may want to contact her and let her know that you're still alive. And I did. We got, not for a couple months, because I wasn't going to. Back then, you guys, we didn't have these cellular phones that all you kids have now. So making a phone call from Kuwait was quite a dramatic situation. But when I got back to the States, I called her, and very callously, she's like, you're alive. I'm like, yes, mother, I'm alive. So you don't get any money. Oh, that's not why I called. I'm like, really? You could have asked, like, am I alive? But from what I understand, the first comment was, or question was, how about them ducats?
How about that life insurance?
Where's that money? So that was the that was the last.
The final straw?
Yeah. That was in 1994.
Wow. And when did she pass?
2008.
Got it. So there was quite a long time. Obviously, it was 15 years between you and that incident and the time that she passed.
Yes.
Where was your dad in this whole picture?
He was up in Crescent City, California. You and I went up there and met him. Long story super short. I didn't meet my biological father until I was 16. I went up and visited him, had a really nice time because there was that emotional bond that I really needed. It's my father. I felt really good for the first time in a long time. Went back down the Redding. A couple months later, my mom got super drunk and beat the shit out of me. I was 16 years old. She had a tire pump, with the one of these with the hose, and she was up on the front porch and she swung it and just nailed me in the side of my head. That probably caused a concussion. I don't know.
Couple brain cells.
Yeah, I don't remember what for. It's not relevant because nothing your kid does is bad enough for you to
beat him with a
tire pump. Yeah. So I got on my motorcycle, Honda XLR 250. It's basically a dirt bike with a headlight on it. Drove from Redding all the way to the coast, went up to Crescent City, went to a payphone, called my dad and said, hey, I got to come live with you. I can't live with my mother anymore. And so I did. I stayed there for about 2 weeks. This is relevant. I was a virgin at the time. 16. Yes, I know. I was a late bloomer. I was saving myself. And my mother-in-law got super drunk one night and tried to screw me. Hey, Heidi. It's out there now. Anyway, that was super confusing. I was very uncomfortable. She started reaching down. I was like, didn't know what, that's not what I needed. I needed stability in my life.
Yeah.
I needed a mentor. I needed guidance. I need to figure out how to cruise around the world at a semi-decent pace and fashion. And I got my stepmom who's drunk trying to screw me. I went back into the bedroom. She scrambled off somewhere. Mind you, my father was just in the other room, and we're in the living room. But he was super passed out, so he would have never heard anything anyway.
Now, your father was also on copious amounts of opioids, correct?
Copious. And coke.
Oh.
He was a logger. He would get super drunk and then wake up in the morning and do a line of coke to get him all ready for the logging day.
Oh, gee.
Very dangerous job, but
even more dangerous with a nice big fat rail in the morning.
yeah. So he was not there emotionally for me either. Shocker. But I went into the room after that incident. I got dressed. I crawled out the window, got on my bike, and took off. Drove down to Fresno, California, and stayed with my grandmother. I called my father, and he's like, "What the fuck happened? Where did you go? What are you doing?" I don't know if he was genuinely concerned or not, but I spilled the beans. I said, "Dad, Heidi tried to have sex with me last night." He's like, "Bullshit." I said, "Well, that's what happened. I wouldn't make it up." Anyway, that was the last part of that discussion. Many years later, when we met, he acknowledged that he knew that was true. So,
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you and I went to Crescent City, so roller coaster of a developmental ride later on, throughout the years anyway, I rekindled my relationship with my father when in about like 2006, 2007. Mm-hmm. And Judy and I went up there and met them and my half brother, who went to prison for child porn. Shocker. See, very, very, very broken gene pool. Something's not right. Anyway, went up there and hung out, and Dad was a disabled veteran, Vietnam War. He blew up in a tank.
Yeah.
He got caught on fire. What was it? 80% of his body was burnt.
Yeah.
Which statistically, you're not supposed to come back from that. 3rd-degree burns. He was jacked up. He was, they had to cut this finger off because it got infected.
His first finger.
Yeah, his first finger. And he just had skin grafts all over his body. And
he was very proud about letting us know that the skin grafts came from a monkey's butt.
Yeah. Way back in the 70s, they did monkey butt grafting, monkey butt skin grafts for burn victims. Pretty advanced stuff. But what's crazy is that the older he got, it's like the grafting would start to slough off, start to like lose its adhesion. Mm-hmm. And he was always in a ton of pain. Of course, the VA doctors, they don't treat, they just throw medication. He was well aware of this. He called us into his bathroom.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And he's like, "Look at all of this." And there was a box. I kid you not, you guys, there's a massive box of just pills. You name it. You just name it.
Full to the brim with bottles of pills.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't know what to do. If I stop getting them, then the VA will discontinue them, and that'll be that. And I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what I was supposed to do. I don't know what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was still a very awkward visit.
Yeah, very awkward. We left. We were driving home the next day, super hungover, and I was very emotional. I was angry and crying and confused, and just none of this stuff ever made sense with my parents. I never knew how to handle it.
Sorry, go ahead.
The one thing about my mother dying that I still carry around is going back to that question that you had. What did you ever talk to her about it? No. Sometimes I wish she was still around so I could have a confrontation with her and just have her really listen to all of the shit that she did. I don't even want an apology. I just want to go, do you understand that was, you really messed up a lot of people by your actions and your words and your selfishness. So,
do you think she would have responded? Do you think she would have,
loaded question.
Yeah, true.
Depends how high she was. I don't know. I know that I had a capacity for nurture at a very young age, because there was a time in Susanville, California, I was in 6th grade. We had just moved up there. And for some reason, she was sober. She was going to nursing school. And she was sober for that entire summer. And that school year, I went back to school and just, shocker. My mom was giving me affection and loving me and providing a semi-stable home life. And that quarter, I was on the honor roll.
You flourished.
Guys, it's not that difficult to do. Take care of your kids and they'll be okay.
Yeah. Don't beat them.
Yeah, I don't think we need much, but just some love, and we'll grow okay. But I remember after that, she got into it heavy again, started doing meth and coke and pills and drinking. And then just her overall actions it just does what it does to
Yeah.
I don't know how strong you can be at 11, 12, 13 years old for you to move through that successfully.
I don't think any 11, 12, or 13-year-old is strong enough to...
Yeah, that's the age that you definitely need some guardrails.
Where did you finally get that that guidance, that nurturing, that stability in your life for you to progress into a better part of your life?
Fort Benning, Georgia, Drill Sergeant Spizo.
Nothing like the military.
He gave it to me real quick, like. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I joke, but I'm kind of serious. I think a lot of my friends know when I joined the Army, it was a wild shock during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I was like, I'm just joining to get some college money. They're like, Private Lund, you were getting ready to go see some shit you can't possibly imagine. I'm like, I'm but a child. I don't know what this is. And so I tried to get out. One of the bunkhouse lawyers, if you will, it's a soldier that's getting recycled because they have a medical issue or whatever. He's like, hey man, if you want to get out, just tell them, just stop doing what they tell you to do. I'm like, that sounds like a genius idea.
Oh, good Lord.
He's like, and then throw in that you're a conscientious objector. I'm like, oh, I'm out of here. So we're standing there in Fort Benning, Georgia, Sand Hill, 1st to the 38th Infantry is insane. I want to go back there one day. That place it'll mold a young, impressionable mind. It's like these 3-story buildings on top of stilts, all concrete, like a castle. And then underneath that, that's all the formation areas. So it's a whole company. Company is 4 platoons in the Army. Each platoon is about 30 to 40 soldiers. So we're all standing there, about 120 soldiers, and they're like, all right, everybody, get down on the ground and start beating your face. That means do push-ups, because your face is getting down. Everybody screams out, yes, drill sergeant, and just stands there. And and does it. And I was just standing there like this. Not doing it. I'm out of here. And so there's like 8 or 9 drill sergeants, and they like radar, they turn around, they're like, they all look at me, and they come like super fast shuffling towards me with their drill sergeant hats, and they start pecking me.
With the broom bat.
Like walking around, they're like, Private Lund, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, you guys can imagine, you know, R. Lee Ermey style. And I started getting super scared. I think they squeezed a tear out, and I'm like, I'm not doing what you tell me anymore. And they're like, oh, sweet baby Jesus.
We got one.
They're like, yes, we've been waiting for this. There's always one motherfucker that wants to try us. And I was like, they're like, why the fuck not Private Lund? I'm like, I'm a conscientious objector. I don't want to kill anybody. And they're like, oh, yeah, we got a live one here. They're like, we're going to give you one more chance. Get down on the ground and start beating your face, Private Lund. I'm like, no. In back of my head, I'm like, man, this better be worth it, because I'm losing. I'm about to shit myself. So they're like, that's it. They give me the one chance. They physically picked me up like just imagine I'm standing there at attention and they pick me up like a board. All of them. And they just promptly like shuffle me. Everyone's still down on push-up position, like on the ground looking over like, oh, what the fuck did this guy do? They carry me over to the company commander's office. This Captain Shroud, he had these big gigantic teeth. They look like chiclets. They walk me in and they like stand me up. Pink. I'm standing there at attention, just scared shitless. And the captain looks at me. He's like, Private Lund, what the fuck is your problem? I was like, sir, I'm a conscientious objector. I don't think people should be hurt or killed. He looked at me just with this shit-eating grin. He's like, Jesus fucking Christ. He goes, I tell you what, I don't know who told you that that's going to work and that we're going to just let you leave. But that's not what happens around here. In fact, by the time we're done with you, you're going to enjoy killing people. And I was like, all right. But just by his tone, I'm like, that's that. I gave it my best shot. Then I got punishment. I got Ed, you'll know this. I got a summarized Article 15. I guess I set a record because they posted it. They're like, Lund, this hasn't been done since the 1970s. Good job. You just set a record by getting a summarized Article 15 within your first week. It's judicial punishment in boot camp. So anyway, I got put on extra duty for 2 weeks. A summarized Article 15 means it doesn't stay on your record if you graduate boot camp. So I got put on extra duty, which is super exhausting because we're up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing PT, doing rifle drills, shooting, doing, out there screaming, what makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. It's so crazy.
Cheerful.
Yeah, infantry training. And so we're doing all that and then just exhausting your body all day long. Then come like 6 o'clock, we eat, and then you get free time, which means you got to go press your uniform and shine your boots and get ready for the next day. Guess what happened at 6 o'clock to Private Lund? Fire watch. Means I was up until about midnight. And that happened for 2 weeks straight. So
learned your lesson, didn't you?
Yeah, I learned my lesson. 4 hours of sleep while you're training for the infantry for 14 days straight will do some crazy shit to your head. I was like, all right, I'm down. Whatever they need me to do. One of the worst things I remember was, so I'm down there with the buffing the floor, making them super shiny in what's called the charge of quarters office. So there's a drill sergeant, just like on Full Metal Jacket. There's always a drill sergeant awake at night waiting for some crazy private to do some wacky shit. I remember a guy in a company next door to us, he tried to commit suicide by throwing a buffer out of the window with the cord tied around his neck.
Oh my God.
Cord is way too long. Buffer just exploded on the ground and he's still standing there. The drill sergeant's like, what the fuck?
Good Lord.
Never got a chance to pull him out the window, so he got into a lot of trouble.
So real
quick, ahead. So I was down buffing the floor, and in the South, if you guys know, there used to be a chain called Blimpie's Subs. It's like a Subway competitor. He had a Blimpie's sub delivered. And by this time, I had lost, I don't know, just calories upon calories. And that submarine sandwich smelled so good. I was like, man, this is insanity. Anyway, I turned myself around. I got promoted to E2 coming out of basic training, and then went to air assault school. Yeah, but to
So
answer your question,
that was the catalyst then.
Yeah. That's who raised
The
me.
guidance.
I'll never forget. We were at a rifle range. This is one of the ones I think I've told my friends. You always remember a saying from a drill instructor. I had asked the question. I can't remember what it was, but I went, "What if?" And Drill Sergeant Spizo, this guy was a psycho, man. He was just, he's a caricature of a drill instructor. He goes, "What?" He stops like holding his track, turns around like he's going to eat me. And he's like, "What? What if?" He gets all philosophical and he's like, "Private Lund, what if? What if? What if?" We could what if all day long. What if grasshoppers had machine guns? Well, then birds would never fucking eat, would they? I'm like, that is an excellent point. Anyway, we moved on. I think I'm that cliche. If I didn't join the Army, I would have gone down that same path. So something snapped.
I was going to ask you if you hadn't joined the Army, where do you think you would have ended up?
Yeah, there's a lot of good peer counseling, if you will, and a lot of crazy events that shaped me. But there's being that impressionable in the infantry, especially. Man, I got shaped by some bad shit too. So
if you were to give any kind of advice for somebody who has gone through trauma, abuse as a child, and they're still struggling with it, what would you tell them?
join the Army.
Besides join the Army. Get some help.
I don't know. That's so tough to answer. It's so cliche. I guess I don't know. I'd be like, "Oh, good luck to you." I'm just kidding. If you need help, if you've gone through child abuse and you're dealing with that trauma, I think it helps to start to talk about it, at least to start to release that pressure valve. I think that's what it's done for me. I want to say, I don't know if it's helped, but I think it has helped because, the things that I've talked to you about, that the therapist is like, go talk to your wife about that. I think that's her just being lazy. She's like, I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with you anymore, John. Go talk to your wife about it. But remember that day I came home and told you about the Army stuff?
Yes.
That happened?
Yes.
That, at the time, it didn't help, but it really relieved a little pressure.
Yeah.
Just to get it out.
I could tell that when you did, talk to me about that, and after you had explained everything that happened, you were a little bit more, it was some form of catharsis for you.
Yeah. You're a form of catharsis for me.
Well, thank you.
You are. So, yeah, the abuse factor, it's something that's very pronounced, something that really, really molds a child. There's all kinds of schools of thought about nature versus nurture. I think that all things being equal, it does matter, but as long as you have at least one super loving parent in your life, you're going to do really well. The super bonus is having two parents in your life that have differing opinions, so you get a nice cornucopia of development emotionally and physiologically.
Yeah, unfortunately nowadays a lot of children are stuck with just one parent, but even then, even just one parent is better than one loving parent is better than having no parents at all.
Yeah. But again, all things being equal, it doesn't matter if you have a mom and a dad.
Or a mom and a mom.
Or a dad and a dad. Yeah. Because I know, and you can see it. You can see it happening too. It's the two-parent factor. Mm-hmm. Like Emily and Sarah, their two boys are just, you can tell they're just like, man, they've got the best start, living their best lives.
Yes.
And, okay, super XP level up bonus. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
being surrounded by additional family members that love you.
Oh yes, they have a very lovely family.
Yeah, they've got grandparents, aunts and uncles,
Cousins.
Cousins.
Yeah, they have a very loving family.
Yeah, that's the super level up XP bonus development. So beginner level, one parent and that's it. Child will do okay. Level 2, multiple parents. Level 3, a village.
Yeah. I think for those kids who are stuck either like on the street or have no parents or in foster care or whatever that is, if they could find at least just one inspirational person in their life, I think would be beneficial to them.
For sure. It's what I hope to okay. I got to tell a story real quick. A lot of people don't know this. I'm going to spill the beans.
Oh God, do I know this?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, here I go. I have a daughter.
Ah, yes.
She's almost 30 years old. Her name is Soraya. And I was talking to my friend Ed about this, and it's the weird. So I'm sorry if anyone that's watching or listening has ever. Okay, let me back up. When people ask, "Hey, do you and your wife have children?" I immediately say no.
Because we don't.
Because we don't. But
we have dogs.
Yes. And dad.
And dad.
That is an instant cop-out, if you will. But the rationale is, I don't have time to explain the scenario. I'm working on formulating a different answer for that. And the answer would be yes. But then here's what happens. Then they say, well, what does she do? I would have to say, I don't know. Then there's, it's just a strange conversation. Mm-hmm. Soraya and Judy met Soraya in 2012. She's a train wreck. She is a mess. She is basically me in a much better looking female body, and she's on the fast track of self-destruction.
Yes. She would be you prior to going into the military.
Yes. Nature versus nurture thing again. Her mom did a really good job of raising her with her stepdad, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, they both seem very stable, nice people.
Yeah. So she was getting that portion, but man, you guys, when I've tried to talk to her, like, Soraya, you have got... it's just like I'm talking to myself. And then I'm like, oh, this is a complete waste of time because I know exactly what I would be doing. Someone would be like, John, you really got to chill out with the drinking and lifestyle that you're doing in your 20s. I'd be like...
No. You don't know anything, man.
I will never die. I will drink a tanker truck of Busch.
Yeah.
So where she's at right now is she graduated from heroin to fentanyl. So I've already started mourning that loss. I've started mourning her several years ago. I think I told you.
Yeah. Well, we've tried to, put out the olive branch for her many times, but there were restrictions. I mean, she had to get her driver's license. She had to get sober. So, I mean, they weren't hard restrictions. They were common sense restrictions, but there were still restrictions on it. And she didn't want to conform to any of them. So we couldn't, at that point, our hands were tied. We couldn't have that around us in our environment when, that's just something we didn't want in our environment.
Yeah. She reached out a couple times and wanted to move out here. And no matter how much I want that relationship, I have a fantasy. I think I've told Sarah and Emily this. I have a fantasy in my head, and it's just this vision of her and I sitting on the front porch, drinking coffee and talking about life.
Mm-hmm. You never know. They may still happen.
It may. Unfortunately, she's I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna say any more because I don't think I should share all of that information because it's not really anyone else's business. But the drug abuse it's rough. But anyway, all right.
So, to sum it all up, as far as your traumatic childhood, how do you think it has? How do you think you have overcome a lot of that and to be the person that you are, other than the military? Have you been able to process any of that stuff?
Yes. Man, that's a good question, Judy. You stumped me.
Yay!
I think the processing of it just comes. Man, I don't know how to answer that without sounding dumb.
I just spit it out.
You know, having you in my life is a sort of a forced reckoning.
You have somebody else you have to care for.
Yeah. And you and I have been together for 20 years, and it hasn't been super smooth.
No.
The last 5 years has, and the last 18 months has been something I never could have imagined.
Since our sobriety.
Sobriety together. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Proud of you. But I really don't know how to answer that. I think I'm very selfish about myself, and what I crave constantly is to be happy. I love being happy.
Which I think everybody should crave.
Yeah. I love being passionate. I love being engaged to things. I like getting excited. I like not being depressed. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, you have to promise me that while we're going through this, by the way, I've been completely non-depressed for at least 3 weeks after my last medication adjustment increased the Effexor to 150 milligrams. It was a rough ride in the first couple of days, but I feel really well. But you got to promise me that if I wake up one day and I'm depressed, that you will, on a Saturday, you will force me to come do this.
Oh, of course.
Because my interest, you guys, it goes to zero. I don't want to do anything.
Which I think a lot of people who are going through depression, suffer from that same kind of lack of motivation and drive and
yeah,
the like.
This podcast will start out like this. Good morning. Judy will be carrying it. I'll just be like, fuck, I don't care. Whatever.
Anyway,
all right. What else?
I think we're good.
Okay. I think we went around. And Emily, are you calling in to test out the phone? I'm ready to go. Emily will be our first guest. She's too afraid. It sounds amazing, guys. Just like a radio. All right. That's a little snippet of my childhood trauma.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's a lot to share with a vast amount of people.
Oh, Emily said she's going to call in.
Yeah, I think this went well. What do you think?
Yep. All right, let's check this out. Emily?
Hey.
Hello.
We can hear the kids in the background.
They're eating breakfast. They're very happy.
Thank you, caller. You're live on the air. What question can we answer?
Oh, I was just calling to see if your phone line worked. It didn't come ready for a question.
Well, thank you for checking out our phone line. We really appreciate it.
All right.
You got it.
Bye, Emily.
Love you guys.
Bye. Oh, that's good.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Now we know it works. So anybody who wants to call in next time.
Anyone else want to call in? Ed, you want to share your thoughts? Just kidding. Won't put you on the spot. Okay. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We got a coffee date with our good friends coming up.
Yes, we do.
Next Saturday, I'm going to have a special guest on, my good friend, Patrick.
Very excited.
Yes, we're gonna talk. We're gonna get deep. Patrick Patrick's a philosopher. So he's going to be the guest, and we're going to talk about some stuff. Judy and I are talking about possibly increasing the volume of these podcasts, maybe to adding another one per week, but we're not sure.
Well, I think we need to go over the content too.
Yeah. Because we have enough content at least for a year. We've got some stuff stacked up, but if you all are interested in talking about anything else, please let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to have your feedback.
We are going to do a really good job, or try to, of making sure that this podcast stays focused on what we started out to do, and that is
Sober mind.
mental health and sobriety. I want to talk about that. We don't want to switch. My promise to you is you're not going to catch me doing this podcast one day and I'm in my garage talking about my French cleat wall.
I hope
People
not.
will be like, what the fuck happened? Where's the mental health?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Ed doesn't look like Ed wants to call in. I put him on the spot. That was rude. Sorry, Ed. All right. He's looking forward to next weekend. Okay. So next weekend, special guest, Patrick is going to be on. Yes. Ed says French cleats, sober indeed. Okay. Anyway, if you found some value out of this podcast / stream, once you hit subscribe, hit the like button if you want. Brian, thank you very much. I did jump on the Facebook the other day. I'm sure a lot of you saw that because I thought I could use it as a platform to get this stuff out there. And it was nice seeing a lot of folks on there. You know what, babe? You know it was interesting. You know when you get on the Facebook and it says, "Hey, here's all some friends we recommend for you." I was scrolling through there. I'm like, there's a lot of heavy drinkers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the crowd that we hung out with.
Yep. But I added them as
And
friends.
brewed beer with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope no one ever thinks that Judy and I ever go through life thinking that we're above anybody or better, because we're not.
No.
I am a flawed basket case of genetic imperfections. I'm serious. I am a train wreck disaster, like an avalanche of weird raw emotion. Thank you so much for putting up with me all these years. I couldn't do it. There's no way. There's no way I would ever live with someone like me. There's no fucking way. Just for the record.
You were easy.
But anyway, we just like to get this out there. This is so cathartic. Judy and I are having a blast talking about this stuff, and we can't believe we get to go after this, upload it as a podcast, and just have an area to vent. To talk. See, every day we get well, not every day. Every Saturday we get done with this. Mm-hmm. I walk out of here with this like pulsing energy.
Yes.
It's like there's a weird, like your brain goes, "Thank you, man. I needed to dump all of that out. Now I got a little empty reservoir to put some good feelings into."
Yeah. Well, I usually walk out and then just get that adrenaline dump. That's what happens to me.
Yeah. Okay. I got the 988 suicide and crisis lifeline posted on there. Remember, if you or anyone you know has suicidal thoughts or ideation, give them a call. Talk through some stuff.
Yeah,
I
please.
also, per my sister-in-law Michelle's request, I got the Al-Anon bug up there. Al-Anon's a fantastic organization for folks to call into and start to investigate help for alcoholics or family members of alcoholics or alcoholics themselves. Thank you all for watching Sober Mind. You are loved.
Yes, thank you.
You're very special. Keep on keeping on.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. Babe, good job today.
You do.
I love you.
Love you too.
High five. Bye, y'all.
Bye.